Okay, we are in our Sharei Orah, I think Shiur 64, 65, משהו כזה. זכינו 65 שיעורים on Sharei Orah. There's only one other person on the internet, by the way, that has a Sidrat Shiurim on Sharei in Hebrew. But he goes like an hour on one line. So, and it's in Hebrew. We do it in English and we go like 2 pages in 20 minutes.
Two in the whole world?
Yeah. Huh? In the whole world. There's 2. In the whole, 8 billion people. 2 people learning Sharei Orah. Teaching Sharei Orah. Wow. Okay, so we're learning about Sifrat HaYesod. And we were in the Hilulav, the Ben Ish Chai, which is the Yesod. And just to kind of what we learned in the right now the Hilulah. So when we reviewed Aftaya saw that Ben Ish Chai was going up 4 Madregot. Basically, every person has, besides for the world that he comes from, the partzuf, the system that you come from, you have a specific sphira that you're connected to. That's the point of this conversation. And the Ben Ish Chai was the Yesod. And he was able to, in his lifetime, when he was 40, I mean, he was probably in his 70s at that time, to get at least 4 levels above. That means he's changed his Shoresh Nishamas 4 times. That's unbelievable. There's with new, okay? That means with new Shoresh Nishamas, you have new Iburim, you have new Torahs, you have new Razea Torah, you have new... It's unbelievable stuff. And I was learning, I think today is the Hilulah of the student of the Yehudi Kadosh. I'm going to say this wrong, correct me. Rav Bunim Mipshischa? I'm saying it right? Yeah. Rav Bunim Mipshischa. He was the student of the Jose Milublin. He was a businessman. He used to wear a short jacket. He used to have pale, but he looked like a businessman. He knew languages and stuff. And he was the Rebbe of Menachem Mendel Mikotsk. The Kotzker Rebbe, who everybody knows of. Tonight is his Hilulah. Wow. He was a student of the Yehudi Kadosh. It means first he was a student of the Jose Milublin. And then he was a student of the Yehudi Kadosh. And they say that he became blind at the end of his life, and he was able to tell who came into a room from smelling them. And that only means that a person is able to rise up in his shoresh and is able to gain new talents and new capabilities. Okay? So, Zachinu, we were able to mention these tzaddikim, and maybe we'll be able to see them, because you know, in the next world, there is no shamashim and there is no protection over there. It's like before you get to see a tzaddik, you have to wait in a line. If you're zocher, you're connecting, you go right in. Especially people who learn the Pnimiyut Torah. So, yeah, they say the people who learn Chumash with Rashi get to learn in the yeshiva of Rashi. There's stories like that. Not much stories. Okay, so we were in the middle of the Yesod, and we were in the first full paragraph. Apologies. After I awakened you, Alikar Gadol Hazeh, on this great idea, know, כי השם יתברך והתעלה כשרצה לגאול את ישראל ממצרים. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be He, wanted to redeem Am Yisrael from Mitzrayim, חיבר מידת אל חי הנקרא גאולה למידת עמונאי הנקרא תפילה. What did he do? He didn't have a zechut. So he had to by himself take the Yesod, which is called Kel Chai, or Geula, and connect it with Amonai. Since we didn't have the Zechut, because of Berit Avot, like I told you guys in this year, because of the covenant of the Avot, not Zechut Avot, Berit Avot, got connected Geula, Yesod, Kel Chai, with the Malchut, which is Amonai, or Tfilah. And that's the secret where the pasuk says, "V'ya'anchu b'nei Yisrael min ha'avodah," and Am Yisrael rested, or they sighed from the work. Bata'al means they had a break. Bata'al shavatam el Elohim min ha'avodah, and their voices rose to God from the heavy work. And right after that, it says, "Vayar Elohim," God saw, and b'nei Yisrael v'yeda Elohim, and God knew. What does that mean? What's the connection with Geula? V'asod hagadol, the great secret says. The Sharei Orah. וגם אני שמעתי את נאקת בני ישראל השם מצרים ועבדים אותם ואזכור את בריתי. The next pasuk. What's the next pasuk? I remembered my brit. By them crying out, I didn't remember the zechut. The zechut, because sometimes it's God, b'diuk. But the brit, it's a swear, it's a covenant. I'll never forget my brit. That's the secret of the cry.
Just learn.
Huh?
Shoot.
Yeah, it's b'diuk, that's what I'm saying. So, it's connected, but v'nitz'ak el Hashem, like, it's that tza'aka. When they get to the Yam, so they just yell, like, we need to. And, can I tell you one chidush from the Leshem Shov Achlama, Matok Midrash? Says, the Leshem Shov Achlama, I was learning it today. This is a book that I've been learning for the last 15 years. Literally. It's that thick. We have an on and off lahavdil relationship. So, I was learning, he says, he said Adam, the secret of Adam's sin, and he goes deep into Adam's sin. Deep. So the secret of Adam's sin, in a nutshell, was that he was looking for the problem. He asked for the problem. It started small, he said. First, he just thought of the klipot. Then he went to the klipot, he looked at them, and then he fell into them. It started small. First, he wanted to know what it was. And then when he knew that he messed up by thinking about them, because the whole Avera of Adam HaRishon is a chidush, was in the machshava. It started off in the machshava. And he has a proof from the Tikkunei Zohar, Tikkun Samech. And then he fell b'shogeg, by looking at it. And then when he looked at it, then he ate from it. And eating really means that he was with his wife before Shabbat. Because Pirsa Nida, she became a Nida because she had an interaction with the Nachash in whatever realm that they were in, not an actual physical. It was an interaction between them, and just the interaction made her become a Nida, and he was with her before Shabbos, and he fell b'mezid because he wanted to fight it, and he thought that with this big level, so he was able to defeat the Nachash. But he not only did he mess up big time. And he got everything to the lower level, and Hashem had to bring down the world so everything should fit. It means the worlds were like levels apart, and they had to connect somehow, and Hashem had to bring Atzilut down to Bria, and Bria to Yitzira, and Asiyat al-Chashalim to the Klipa. So he says, many tzaddikim, they asked for the problem. It means they were such in a level, says the Leshem of Achama, that they were in the ability where the world was so good, they were able to take the fight to the Klipa. But Hashem didn't want them to do that. And a prime example is Noach. Noach was at the perfect position, he writes, to take the fight to the Klipa. Why? The world was done, all the Klipot were dead. The world was just, it was him and his family.
He wanted to go one over.
Exactly, he started over. And he got drunk to get to the Klipa. He wanted to take the fight to them, and he messed up big time. And Shlomo HaMelech was the same thing. He took the fight to the Klipa. I mean, there was a Beis HaMikdash already. It was done. Like, all I gotta do is just take the last hit to them, and he fell. Nadav and Avihu, same thing. All they had to do was bring a Ketorah. They said, we're gonna be the ones. But it wasn't their job. They had to bring Aharon, their father, with them, and they messed up.
Cain and Abel's Hevel.
He doesn't bring Cain and Hevel as an example. It means that the Avera was already done. But what's interesting, Hevel, whatever he did, we look at Hevel as a tzaddik. He was a tzaddik. He's Moshe Rabbeinu. But Hevel, in reality, his pegam, maybe I shouldn't say this because I don't want to make a kitrug on all the Hevels out there. So, and there's a lot of Hevels out there. Because the Hevels love Pnimiyut HaTorah. So we don't want to put them down because we don't want to put ourselves in, we don't want to put them in a sakana. But Adam HaRishon, whatever he did was that Hevel just recreated what Adam did. He didn't do nothing. It seems like he didn't do anything, but he was chayav. He was chayav big time. And Moshe, when he was alive, he was a powerhouse as a Lishon Shabbat. He was a powerhouse. And while he was alive, until he hit the rock, he was able to fix everything. But Am Yisrael, through their 10 tests of Hashem, they tested God 10 times. In the Machshava, by the way, he says. The real Klal Yisrael didn't actually, God forbid, put God down. It was all in the mind. Like they had a lack of bitachon. I don't want to tell you what he writes about it because I don't want to, because it's a very high level. Like, it's too much, but until Moshe passed away, they were able to fix everything. Once he died, that was the end. But what he writes was interesting, what I want to tell you guys, is that he said a chidush, that the Bnei Yisrael in the Midbar, they were not really that guilty. Why? They were just born. They just got out of Egypt. They came out of the 50 gates of Tum'ah. 49. The Gemara says there is no 50th gate of Tum'ah, by the way. There's no such thing as a 50th gate of Tum'ah. Only the Kedusha is 50. Klipa is 49. Whatever, it's a machloket in Sod. Then God takes them and he throws them in a midbar. And a midbar is a place of no growth. It's a place of klipa. Nachash, saraf. What do you expect them to do? Not to fall? It was as if God said, listen, when you guys were Adam, you guys asked for the test. Now I'm giving you the test. But what's the secret here? When you asked for it, you were guilty. Now that I'm giving it to you, if you fall,
It's on me.
it's on me, it's not on you.
It's not on you.
So that was the secret of the Dora Midbar. They weren't really guilty of what they did. Because God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu he put them in the Klipa. He put them in a place where they had no choice. Like, they had nisyonot there. And they put God through 10 tests, through 40 years. Through 10 tests of bitachon. And till Moshe hit Arag, when Moshe hit it, that's it. He writes, really, once we lost the first luchot, it was almost a lost cause. The first luchot could have been the beginning of something unbelievable. And then many people throughout the generation, they asked for the test. Like Shlomo asked for the test. Shimshon. David, no. David, he writes, David and Yehuda, David HaMelech and Yehuda, they were two people that were above nature. God not only did he give them the test, he forced them into the test. He writes, he forced David and Yehuda, when Yehuda was with Tamar, when Yehuda was with Tamar, and then Tamar had Peretz and Zerah. And Peretz and Zerah are Aaron Onan. And then the bat kol came from Shammai and it says, guys, don't burn Tamar, mimeni. It was me. It was a bat kol. It says, page 23. Mimeni. And then David, when he was with Bathsheba, it says, David picked up the role of tshuva. It was as if David and Yehuda had no control over what they were doing. So David and Yehuda are two people that are not in the conversation. It was as if they had a mission to do and they were forced into the mission. It was as if their free will was taken from them. As it says in the Midrash, David fell a couple of times, ve'alalo, he still survived. Shaul fell once, and that was the end of it. David is the Malchut. But what I want to say is that Adam and many people, they asked for that test in their life, and they fell. And then the Leshu Achlama brings the four who went to the Pardes. The four who went to how they try to fix the whole thing. He has a arichus on it. It's so beautiful to see how the Torah Shtim said. I was want to, I'll end with this. I'll end with the paragraph, and I'll end with this in the paragraph. So we end at least with a new idea. He says, what's our tikkun? What was the Aveira? And what's the tikkun? To know the tikkun, you gotta know what the Aveira was. If you don't know what the Aveira was, how are you gonna do the tikkun? Like, you have to ask Hashem, you gotta tell him. And he's gonna answer you. You gotta say, Hashem, I wanna know what I came to this Gilgul for. Tell me, what did I come here for? You understand? So I can do the tikkun for that. If you don't know what Adam's sin was, he ate from an Etz Hadat. What does that mean? You can't connect to that. It says Allah also beautiful. He's quoting the Ari HaKadosh, of course. It says, when we have the fourth and fifth system, Zayin Nok, right? Zun. I mentioned this thousands of times. Za, which is the sphere of Chesed until Yesod, the Nok, which is the Malchut. Our job is to get them up to the first system, which is Keter. Get Za up to Keter. Right? What happened was that Adam HaRishon, he decided to switch the order. He messed up the experience, the growth of Za, the maturity of the fourth system. He messed it up. He did it in a different order. He thought he was doing a tikkun by killing the klipa in one shot, but he didn't. In his level, he was supposed to do it step. First, you have to bring in Ima, which is the Bina, and then the Chokhmah, and then Keter would come. What did he do? Was that he brought the Keter in first, and he made it. He elongated it. He made the world into. He darkened the whole world. Says the Ari in Orah Tamid, what's the fixing of all of this? And I said this in the Shiur. If a person understands this, then you gotta take it and just, because even when I'm in a state of Tum'ah, for example, let's say I didn't go to the mikveh that day. I just couldn't. Because I come to Sharei here 6:30, sometimes Elul 6, and sometimes I can't wake up at 5 in the morning to go to the mikveh. And I have a decision. Should I make the kavanah or should I not make the kavanah? I have a decision to make. And I come to the decision, I said, if I will miss it, I will miss it forever. Even though I'm not in the right purity stage, and I might be making a mistake by doing this, even though I have my reasons, who I'm backed up by, but I gotta keep on doing it, because if I stop now, I'll stop forever. And I know eventually I will go to the mikveh, and I will do teshuvah, and I will be in that spot, so why stop now? I need to make this a part of me. Says the Ari in Orah Tamid, all the tikkun of Chet Adam HaRishon, all the tikkun is done in tefillah today. It's done in tefillah. It's the last tikkun, tefillah. I told you guys in the shiur, Torah, Baruch Hashem, Ben Prat Yosef, we could drown out the time of the Tanaim even. Maybe not in quality, but definitely in quantity. In quality, no. In quantity, yes. But our tefillah, we need to work on our tefillah. When we daven in tefillah during the week, we're fixing the moach of the bina that comes down into Zah. When we daven on Shabbat, we're bringing down Chokhmah Abba, which was what Adam HaRishon was supposed to bring down on Shabbat. And Mincha of Shabbat, we're in Keter. We're in the highest level. And in the whole year, we do that with Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot. It's a different system, but it's a more generalized system. But if we miss Chazara, if we miss Baruch, if we miss Kaddish, we miss all these tikkunim, we're missing a part. Now, what happens in Shalom when we miss these things? Yeah, I'm not chayav. I don't have to do them. Torah says I just have to say, Hashem, thank you for everything. Wear my tefillin, Shema Yisrael, and I'm done. But you have to do it. You have a quota to fill. When you don't do it, those turn into dinim. And those dinim then turn into onesh. Yisurim. Shateh. And if it doesn't get purified through your Torah and Mitzvot, which is called Etz HaChaim, that's your Torah and Mitzvot, it's called Etz HaChaim through the Shuvah Chama, it will get purified through Libun. Libun? When you purify gold through the fire, either you do it as God told Moshe through the peh, or either through the smack. It's your choice. It's your choice. And if you need the Yisurim, then Hashem will tell you, you got to take a quarter, or then you'll take out a penny. That will be your Yisurim. Don't you want those Yisurim?
Those ones, yeah.
If only that was our Yisurim. But what do you do with your free time? And I'm telling this to myself, not just to you, to myself specifically. I'm telling myself. Right now we have exactly 3 weeks left till Rosh Hashanah.
19 days.
19 days. We're in the Yesod. Let's fix the Yesod. It's the month of the Yesod. I want to do a tikkun, maybe not this week, on Sunday coming up, for Pegam Yesod and the Einayim. It's going to be a small ta'anit in the morning until Mincha time. We have a Mincha with Anenu. give tzedakah, say the tefillah, the Ben Ish Chaim, Pegam HaRe'iyah, that we're Pogem HaReinayim. And remember, we're going into a year with no shofar. First day is no shofar. Second day there is, but it's not lo karav zeh zeh kol halayla. The first day is the din
What
kasher.
does that say for the year?
It's the year of chesed, so Hashem made us a chesed. That means the year itself is called chesed in the calendar. So it's already a big plus. But at the same time, it means we have to bump up our zchuyot. Because we're not mematek the din. Because we need the shofar. And we only have it on the second day. I'm not trying to scare you guys, but you saw this year was Etz Hadat. There was ups and downs. We saw a lot of miracles, and we saw it was ups and downs. Etz Hadat Tovara. We need to take whatever we have, and these 3 weeks, if it's to finish Tehillim, it's to take upon yourself a mitzvah. Krat Shema Lamita. How could you go wrong? And maybe be zochem, B'ezrat Hashem יתברך, לשנה טובה, נעימה, גמר חתימה טובה, בכל הישועות, ילדים צדיקים, בריאים, חסידים, קדושים וטובים, אמן. אמן. לילה טוב.